right, good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Happy Monday, December 9th. Almost there, man. Almost there. Oh. Morning, guys. Welcome back. Happy Monday. Hymns. Yeah, hymns looking good, man. Hymns staying good for us. So far, so good on that, on the dark horse. It's going to continue to hold that thing. Let it be. Morning, guys. Margin, Captain, Nomitz, Golf, Robert, PH, David. Robert Davenport, Closer, Chef, good morning. Tesla, 400, baby. Brett, David SPX, Ponzi, Abel, Beverly, Rusty. Morning, guys. Mike. Yeah, so far so good on the Tesla move. Looking good. A little bit of, definitely, well, not a little bit, heavy rejection points above. So it's going to be an interesting day there on Tesla, right? There's going to be a lot of desire to go out and chase that thing. We have 3 weekly highs that I'm going to talk about today. 3 weekly highs that it is potentially getting stuck below, potentially seeing some rejections at. So want to make sure we're aware of those levels today. Just that's something to be very, very aware of. A little bit of weakness on the semiconductors this morning. It was China probing into monopolistic things for Nvidia. I don't know. I don't know what to think about that yet. I'm going to let the price action show me. Little pre-market drop there for Nvidia. Obviously, going to be giving back a little bit more profit on the Nvidia trade as of now. Going to talk through my mindset on some of those levels there today as well. Obviously, SMH still not as strong, but something forming, but definitely not as strong as the rest of the market. So still slightly concerning there on the SMH weakness. So we'll see. Let's see. When I get a something like this in the pre-market on a position that I'm in, I like to not trade or take action off of emotion, right? That's the last thing I want to do today. I don't want to take actions off emotion this morning. I don't want to just be worried about Nvidia going down all day. I want to make sure I'm reading this intraday, taking it slow, not paying attention to, the emotion side of that drop. So let's see, right? I'm not sure if we're going to get continuation on that. I'm not sure if we're going to get that comeback on Nvidia today. Let's see what that looks like intraday. That's going to be important as well. So what else? Palantir, monster. What a monster move on Palantir. Congratulations to the Palantir boys. I got myself some shares there, so those are looking really good. Wish I had more, but at least I have some skin in the game there. Last day for Liam at the house. Liam is sitting under my chair right now, so last day for Liam. And that's about it. Juan Soto gets a $700 million contract. Why Juan Soto and not me? I did not expect that to go to the Mets, so I was gonna wear my Mets jersey today, but I didn't. All right. So it's Monday. Let's get started. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Appreciate that, Corey. Yeah, I've been working on the lighting in the studio. I got some crazy lights going on in here. I got a big ass light right here, attached to the wall now. Got a big boy back over there. And then another big boy over here. I figured before the end of the year, you spend some money, right? This is all business expense. That's, if I'm going to 2024 expenses, I can add a little bit to that on some studio equipment. Tax deductible. Why not? All right. Let's do it. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Here we go. Number 1, first things first. Let's pull up that economic calendar. Today, really nothing to worry about. Really nothing to worry about on the economic side today. You can see right here, Monday, final wholesale inventories. Not too worried about that today. Tomorrow, really not much to worry about tomorrow as well. It looks like Wednesday is where you start to get anything to be, sort of monitoring. Wednesday, CPI, 10-year bond auction, and then PPI on Thursday with the unemployment claims. So that's really it. A pretty light week besides, CPI, PPI, all right? A pretty light week. Really the only two major things here, right here, right here. Besides that, pretty much a slow week on the economic calendar. So let's just be aware of Wednesday, Thursday, CPI, PPI. We do have an important earnings this week for my Nvidia position, which I will have to sort of decide how I want to play this. We do have the Broadcom earnings, which will be important for those semiconductors. You guys can see right here, today, after hours, C3.ai, Oracle, MongoDB, Home Builder, Toll Brothers, Vail Resorts, huh? That's interesting. I'd wonder how the Vail Resorts has been doing. Interesting comment. Not sure what that's directed towards. Tuesday, AutoZone, Academy Sports. Not really worried about these ones. GameStop, for all the GameStop boys on Tuesday after close. Dave & Buster, Stitch Fix, not too worried about those. Broadcom is really this is really the one I'd be interested in. Thursday after close, Broadcom. Costco even is an interesting name to pay attention to there. Adobe on Wednesday. Really, it looks like Adobe, Broadcom, and Costco would be my large names to watch. And then, man, I love this store. I mean, I don't think there's a better store than this right here. This is my favorite store in the world, right here. Oh, my God. When I go into this, man, when I go into this store, just something special about it. Restoration Hardware. What a store. Man, it makes me happy just thinking about it. I love interior design. If you don't, that's a little thing. If you don't know that about me, now you know. Interior design is one of my favorite things. All right, let's move on. So futures, let's start there. Then we'll get into the stocks. So let's start on this Nasdaq futures. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys again for being here. Here we go. So let's go to the 15-minute on the Nasdaq futures. Let's take a look at what we're looking at in the pre-market today. You guys can see we had that little overnight pop, right? Overnight pop over the 21,670. Get this guy out. Get him out. 21,670, right? We had that high from Friday, right? We get that pop over this level in the futures in the overnight session, and we fail under it. So a little bit concerning, right? A lot of trapped buying up here. Definitely a sign of rejection, right? Definitely a sign of weakness as we push towards that 21,700 area. So a little bit cautious on that this morning, right? A little bit cautious on that. I still think you want some slides, right? A couple slides, a couple better entries to really be aggressive this morning. I think the key spot, the sweet spot for now is right here. I think this is the sweet spot. My house is making noises. This is the sweet spot to be looking for. 21,550. I think that is where I'd like to see this Nasdaq come back to today. This is the Wednesday high, the Thursday high, right? And if we can come back to that Wednesday, Thursday high around 21,550, I would be a little bit more confident to catch some type of a pullback long there. There's possibly some holds here, which we're already seeing at the 21,590. That is the holds that came in on Friday afternoon. You guys can see right here, right? Very clear level, 21,590. So it could be here, right? And I could be a little bit timid and maybe potentially miss that long off 590, right? That could be the long spot today. I could be a little bit too timid and maybe miss this long, right? The reason I'm not that interested in this long here at 590 is it's just too close to this 670 a little bit too close to like this 640, because we also had some rejections here all day on Friday around this 640 spot, right? You see this right here. So I'm really just not a fan of the long right back into this 640 spot and this 670 spot, right? So 670, 640 on the Nasdaq futures, definitely potential failure spots that I'm just not quite interested in longing right back into, right? Deeper pullbacks provide better risk reward, and that's, I think, what you want to look for here to start the week. So for now, 590 is holding. You could look to see if there's any type of stab long, sort of scalp longs off that 590, but I personally would like to wait for, when I zoom out on this 30-minute chart, to me it looks like the proper thing to wait for is a retest of these previous highs right here, right? See these previous highs right here, 1 and 2. I think that's the right spot to look for. So that's 21,550. I would not be surprised in the slightest to see us sort of slide towards that level today. Might see a little bit more downside on this NASDAQ market after some of these very clear failures up above at 640 and 670. So watch the 640, watch the 670, some clear failures up here, guys. I don't think there's anything wrong with the little slide back down, right? Little cool off move. I think that comes back to the 550. That would be my first sweet spot of the day. Under 550, I'd watch that 490. 490 is the highs from this Wednesday, this sort of hold level from Thursday, and that pre-market high from Friday. That could also be a nice spot back at the 550 or the 490. Those would be two spots that I'd pay attention to today, right here and right here, okay? If we break under that 490, then we're coming back down to Friday's lows, which is at 440, right? And for a break of 440 is what would make me stay away from the longs in the short term, right? And why do I say that? I would not really like a break under 21,440 for the long side. Why? Because that is a very clear break under Friday's lows. That is a very clear break under Thursday's lows. I do not think you want to see a break under Thursday's and Friday's lows if you are a short-term bull, right? Short-term bull. This is different than long-term bullish. Short-term bullish, intraday moves. I think if you break under this 440, 21,440, that would be a sign of, a pretty weak move under Friday's lows, under Thursday's lows. That would bring me back to the 21,387 or our golden zone that we've been waiting for at the 21,340. So for today, here's what I would be paying attention to. The two short-term bull spots to look for, right? The two short-term long spots to look for, in my eyes, are 21,550. That's number one. And 21,490. Those would be two spots that I think the bulls could, sort of maintain that short-term uptrend and look for that pullback long at those two levels. If we break under the 490 and trade towards the Friday lows and the Thursday lows, this would be a concerning spot, right? And possibly where we could lose that short-term bullish action, right? If we break under that 440, then that is a clear flip below, and we can move towards that 387 and that 340, all right? Tough spot, right? A tough spot, a new week. It's Monday, right? And you guys know Monday I like to not take as much action. I like to let the market sort of show me where it wants to hold, where it wants to reject. Let the market speak to you a little bit today. You don't need to go out on a Monday morning and start slamming positions. Let the market show you, hey, we moved, like today we could see this, right? We say, hey, today we moved down to 550. We held it. We went back up into 640. We rejected it, right? So, okay, there's our Monday move. We now have our channel high and our channel low for the week, and now we can start to use that information to find better trading opportunities, right? So for now, I say you let this market trade a little bit, see if we can come back to that 550, see if there's any reactions down there, see what happens on a rejection of 640 today, right? See how these levels react. Get a good understanding of them. See how the market plays. You don't need to wake up on a Monday morning at 9:31 and start putting on your whole account in option contracts. Okay, let's let this trade out a little bit. Let's watch that 590. Let's watch that 550. All right, QQQ, very similar read, right? When we look at this QQQ, the levels look pretty much identical. We can see the failures up above at 526.50, right? Failure, failure, failure. So I'm really not that big of a fan of just longing right back into that failure spot. Trapped buyers, big supply, right? Failure back below it. I don't really like the longs right into that 526.50. Not a big fan of that right there. What do I need for us to long? I need deeper pullbacks. First one that could hold today looks to be around that 525, right? We can see that 525 from Friday, holding again in the pre-market. Possibly we just hold that today. I don't really know if I'd like that hold. I'd like something a little bit deeper, right? I like the 524 as my first spot, right? You can see right here, 524, that Thursday high. And then I like this level right here around 523. 523, 524, I think would be two very interesting pullback longs to be looking for today. That is the retest of Thursday highs right here at 524. And then that is a retest of this high from Friday, some of these rejections from Thursday, and this high from Wednesday. I like that spot as well back at 523. So if we do get a nice slow slide into 524, I'll look for that. If we get back into 523, I'll look to see if those levels step up. Where I think the bullish, sort of move flips in the short term, where I think you need to be a little bit more hands-off with buying pullbacks, is if we break under 521. If we break under this Wednesday low here, and we break under this Thursday, Friday low right here, right, that is 521 on the QQQ. If we pull back and break under this 521, right, I think then that would be a little bit concerning for a deeper pullback. At that point, I don't really think you'd hold. I mean, to be quite honest, I'm going to delete these for a second. I'm going to put them back, but I'm just going to show you sort of what's going on in my mind. If you break under this 521 right here, right, this sort of shelf that was created both Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday on that triple bottom low, if you do see something along these lines, I think that would be, the bigger drop towards the 516, personally. I don't think you're going to get a hold in this sort of Tuesday gap up move right here. Right, guys, remember, this is a gap up. See this? This is sort of gap and go right here. I don't really like us to hold this area as a, hold level after failing under a triple bottom low. So if we do see a failure at some point under 521, I would be aware that goes lower, right? Not, I wouldn't just, that would be a move that I would want much more lower, right? Not just a little dollar lower. That's like the, hey, this is a big failure spot. Let's let this thing slide. That, I think, would come back to our previous all-time high around 516. So for me, right, this is where we need to stay above for the bulls. We need to stay above this triple bottom low right here around 521. And I would be interested in pullback longs all above the 521, right? I'd be interested in the 524. I'd be interested in the 523 right here. I'd be interested in this 522, right? I'd be interested in all these pullback spots until we break under 521. If we break under 521, then my mindset shifts to, hey, let's let this thing slide a little bit more. I could possibly start looking for a fade underneath that level, right? So that's how I'm thinking about that Nasdaq, the QQQ for now. I think that 521 is extremely important. We can clearly see it on the 15-minute chart here, right? Look at this. 1, 2, 3. Very clear 521 lows right there. Today, I'd watch the 525 zone. I'd watch the 524 and the 523. It's about every dollar you have a nice reaction on this QQQ. Here's your Friday lows, your Friday intraday lows, right? See how that got held up. You can see we're holding that in the pre-market right there at 525. If we break that, we come back down to here, which is that Thursday high. That's 524. And if we break that, we're coming back to this 523 spot right there. Okay? ES. S&P 500 futures. Let's go to the hourly chart. And I want to point out something here on the ES, guys, because I think this is actually pretty important. What we're seeing right now, in my opinion, is just a total sort of failure to hold above 6,100, right? This is a little concerning to me in the short term. Every attempt that you have seen to get above 6,100 has not held, right? Every single one. Not a single move over 6,100 has held above, right? You can see right here, pop and fail, pop and fail, pop and fail, major pop and fail, and a pop and fail, right? So this is showing me, hey, there's a lot of selling going on up in this zone, right? And I'm not really going to be the one that just longs right into that area. This is definitely a heavy spot. And what does this show to me? This shows me the logical thing to think here, right? If you're not biased, the logical thing to think here is, hey, this looks real heavy up here. Let's let the market cool off a little bit before we start longing back into this spot. Now, the tough part, right, and the tough part about this is the downside demands below are not giving up, right? So you can't really short this as much as it looks like this is a nice topping area, which could eventually give in and the short could play out. Right now, you are not giving in, right? Those downside demands are still holding strong, right? So even though we've seen these multiple pops and fails above 6,100 and the very clear failure to hold above, we're also not dropping below 60.88 and 60.90, right? We continue to hold and hold and hold, right? And hold. So right now, it's just a really tight channel. It's about a 10-point range on the S&P 500 futures, which is extremely small. So please be careful up here, guys. Probably not the best time to be, taking an entry up in these highs. I'd probably let this market make a decision, right? Either a hold above 6,100 or a hold below 60.90 is probably what you're looking for to really get confident on the next move on this S&P 500. If you fail under 60.90, you come back down to this Friday low around 60.80. If you hold over 6,100, then you probably see that next leg higher in the market, right, to new all-time highs. So 6,100, 60.90, you got a 10-point range here, guys, that has just been chopping around pretty much all of last week after Wednesday. Since Wednesday, we have pretty much just chopped around in a 10-point range. So be aware of that. The holds are still coming in at 60.90, which is good, right? We're still holding above that 60.80, which is good, right? These are definitely two pullback long spots to pay attention to. But just make sure you know, hey, let's be aware of that 6,100. Let's make sure we know that the pop and fades have been coming in above this level. Let's just make sure we're aware that we could get heavy above that 6,100. The best pullback long spot for me here is 60, 70, 60, 68. That's right here. I like this spot right here. This is a Monday, Tuesday high. If we can fade into that, I think that would be one of my favorite spots to look for the retest and the long, right? Right here. Tuesday highs, Wednesday highs. If we can come back to that spot, I like that. 60, 70, 60, 68. I'm going to watch that spot. Below that, you got this 60, 60. And below that, you got the 60, 50 level. Okay? Zooming out real quick, I just want to show you guys that daily chart one more time, right? Sort of show you the area, that golden zone that I'm talking about. I want to show you where that really, I think, the most interesting long comes back in. That, to me, is all in this zone right here. It's between 60.35 and this 60.50 right here. This is that next very interesting pullback long opportunity when we zoom out and sort of just take a bigger picture approach to this. This zone right here, right, that held right here, I think that's your much more interesting sort of structured pullback. When you zoom out and you look at this market and you don't get wrapped up in the short-term stuff up here, I think this is like your sweet spot for that major sort of pullback long opportunity. So we'll see if we get it, right? I don't know if we're going to get that. I'm waiting for it. If we do it, right, if we do get this, my eyes will definitely light up to try to put on some risk at that zone. That is pretty much the same thought process that we had. If you guys remember, this was the same thought process we had over here, right? When we were squeezing higher, pushing into this level, we had that same thought process during that chop, right? This is the same type of look, same read. You had that big squeeze, you had that multi-day chop, which led to that pullback and that next major long opportunity. So this is the same thing, right? big squeeze. You're starting to see some signs of that chop, that consolidation that might need us to cool off back down into a major demand, and then that next major long opportunity. So that's where my mind's starting to get to, right? To make sure I'm cautious of that and make sure I'm not getting wrapped up in the short term, 5-minute chart, looking at these short term levels. I want to remember, hey, this gold zone down here, this 60.50, this 60.35, this is really the spot you want to be looking for that next major opportunity. We can continue to watch these short-term levels, which are very clear, but let's make sure we understand that these are short-term levels, and when we zoom out, that big opportunity really comes in down here, right? We have to always be able to decipher between the long picture and the short-term picture. We can't get wrapped up by just like slamming longs because we're holding 60.90. 60.90 is a good spot, right? It's a level up here. You can definitely see it's maintaining, right? It's definitely proven to be a hold level, but is 60.90 as big as this 4-hour retest, right? Is 60.90 a big level compared to, say, this previous major high? That could be the huge next long spot? No, right? 60.90 is nothing compared to the size and the volume that would arise at this level here, right? So you need to be able to do that. You cannot get wrapped up just looking at the nanosecond. It's so important, okay? Rad Dad, appreciate that, man. Who got it? Jason Cook got it. Very nice. So this is the same read on the SPY, right? Same exact read on the SPY, guys. The sort of micro versus the macro. So this is it, right? Take a look at this. Look at the macro picture here on the SPY. See this? Macro picture on SPY. The last time we had a squeeze, we went above these highs. We got a squeeze over that. We got some chop and consolidation, which led to the pullback and the next fantastic long opportunity. Now, what are we doing again, right? We had that next pullback. We had that pullback, creating the long opportunity. Could this continue higher? Yes. Are we starting to see a little bit of sideways consolidation? Yes. Could this lead to that larger pullback, which creates that next major opportunity? Yes, right? That would be the same thing as this, right? It's the same exact thing. So where's that next big play? I think it's 600, right? The next big play comes back to 600, comes back to the daily 20 SMA, right? Back to the daily 20 as it sort of moves higher. And that probably is your next major sweet spot long. So that's the macro look, right? That's the macro look. Now, there's still micro levels that you could pay attention to that are holding this market higher, but, you got to be able to decipher between the two. On the micro side, right, take a look at this. You got 607. You can see very clear. 607 maintaining. For now, that's a nice low. That's holding again in the pre-market. Could that push us higher? Absolutely, it could push us higher, right? Absolutely, we could hold 607 today. This could rip to 610. Right, so we could go to 630 before we go back to 600. That's still very possible. So that's why you need to be able to decipher between the micro and the macro. Right? For now, the micro trend is still very bullish. Over 607, that's still good. Right? If you break 607, well, you're probably going to come back down into that Friday low right here at 605.75. And that probably could be another pullback long opportunity. 605.75. Below that, right, you have this 605 level that held here on this Wednesday low, right there. You probably need to watch that as well, right? So there's these micro levels that I would continue to watch. For me, the best sort of micro level, the best retest level that I would look for before the 600 spot is right here. It's giving back that Tuesday gap up. It's right here at 604, right? See that? 604, 604.25. That's really the next interesting long spot for me. Previous highs, Tuesday. Previous highs, Wednesday. If we can fail and move lower to that level, I think that would be my most interesting spot there. I'm actually going to go ahead and turn that yellow just so I remember the importance of that one there. Okay? So 604, 604.25, I think is your best pullback and retest in the short term. Right? See these highs right there? I like that one. You break under that, you're coming back down to the 600. If we go to this daily chart, right? Let's go to this daily chart and go here. That would be giving back this gap up. See this gap up? The high of that gap up, 604, right? 604. Very nice. See this? 604. That would be the gap up. That would be the gap fill right there on the SPY. And that probably is where that next nice long comes in. Okay? Nika, appreciate that. Thanks for supporting the stream. All right. And then, of course, the 600, right? All right. Very nice. So hopefully that gives you a good read, sort of understanding of where my mindset's at. A lot of micro levels to be paying attention to, but that major macro level back at 600 is really the juicy one that I'd be paying attention to. But for now, right, the holds are still coming in. And for now, we need to just trade along these short-term spots. You break under 607 today, that's probably where you could get some weakness back towards that Friday low. All right? All right. The most interesting long opportunity of the day, in my opinion, is right here. This is something to be paying attention to, guys. This is now the probably highlight of the day that I would be watching, and that is the SMH. I'm sorry, not the SMH. The IWM. The IWM, the small cap ETF, did exactly, and I mean exactly, what we talked about on this live stream on Friday. We talked about the IWM failing under 239, right? Coming back down to the daily 20 SMA, and then reclaiming the 239 level for somewhat of an inverse head and shoulder long opportunity. This is exactly what we're doing, right? And we said this verbatim on Friday. We said, look for the inverse head and shoulder on the IWM, right? And you guys can see lows, lows, and lows, right? Very nice. 239, 239, 237, daily 20, and look at how we're holding back above that. That is extremely interesting today, and we are also on the verge of breaking this downtrend. If we can break this downtrend, get that strength off 239 after this little alfalfa move under to the daily 20 SMA, that is something I would be paying attention to today, okay? So definitely watching the IWM upside today off the 239 area and possibly even off the 237 area, depending on how much room I want to give that, okay? Something to pay attention to today on the IWM, for sure. Let's go to the Dow Jones. Dow Jones a little bit weak, breaking under that 44.8. Looks like this one might need to drive a little bit lower. I'd say under 44.8. You probably move down to that 44. It's right around that 44.530, right? That low from that from this Tuesday back here on the 26th. 44.530. That might be where you need to trade back down to, right here at these lows. I would be careful of, it looks like it's around this 44.9 actually. Like, let me go ahead and show you this, right? Take a look at this on the Dow Jones. If I turn this red, you can actually you can start to see where this rejection is starting to come in. Right? See this? This 44.9. So you have 44.9 failures here, 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 right? All these rejections and holds at 44.9. Look at that rejection on Friday. So, yeah, I'd say be careful into the 44.9 Dow Jones. Watch this 44 or 45 level, right? And I think you probably want to see this slide back to the 44.530. You probably want that daily 20 SMA to start to catch up to price action. But for now, I'd say be careful on the Dow longs at 44.9. That's a very clear level above. Okay? All right, let's go to the SMH. SMH, a little bit weakness this morning with that Nvidia news out of China. Might be breaking my game plan here, right? We might be breaking my game plan, and if so, then I'm going to have to take this trade-off. And unfortunately, we'll give back some profits. I think still we'll be in a nice profitable position. But, you know, that's what I got to live with, right? If I'm going to have to give back some of these profits, so be it. I love their idea of the long off the 200 SMA. That worked out beautifully. Was looking to extend this trade. I think could still be just sort of a retracement move, right? This is a very normal retracement. If you pull out the fib, right, 50% retracement here. Retracements are still very valid when a stock moves up this quickly, right? You can see on the SMH, very nice pop off the 200 SMA. Little retracement move here. I still think a very interesting retracement, but, right, here's what I'd say. I don't really like how we're failing again below this 50 SMA and under this daily 20 SMA. I'd really like us to get back above that, because if we start to fail this, then I do start to see that head and shoulder formation, right? I do start to see it, right? You can see right here. You're starting to see maybe that head and shoulder formation, which I'm not that, I'm definitely cautious on, right? I need to be aware of that rejection move. So today, I would need to see us reclaim the 247. If we can reclaim that 247 and hold above it today, then I would stay, I'd stay confident. I'd stay still, wouldn't make any moves, wouldn't get in any kind of emotion, right? If we get back over that 247, I'd see if that can, be a maintain, and I would not change my game plan. If we see some major failures here, right, under that 247, and this thing really fails today, that's where I think I'll have to take some action and be aware. Underneath that level, you are going to trade back down, in my opinion, to this 245, 244, right? If you fail back under this 247, you probably trade back to this high from Friday of 2 weeks back, right here, 245, okay? So let's be aware of 247. Let's see if it can reclaim today. If it cannot, and you see failures here, I think that would be something to understand, that you might have some more short-term weakness ahead, possibly back down into that 245, 244 area. And then you'll have to see if it breaks that. You break that, then you're coming right back down, maybe to even that 200 SMA. So let's be aware of this today. 247, that's going to be the line in the sand for me. I want to see a little pop and hold back above it and sort of fake out these shorts in the pre-market. That would be ideal for my position. If that does not happen, I will look to de-risk the Nvidia trade and just sort of ride this juicer right here. So before we jump into Tesla and we jump into some stocks, we got 3,000 people here and we got 978 likes. That means less than 1/3 of you have pressed the like button. If you guys could take 1 second out of your day, press that like button. All you guys that are spamming tickers in the chat probably have not pressed the like button. So if you want me to even look at those, I know, which I really don't because we have a set schedule here. But if you even want a chance of that happening, I'd appreciate if you could press the like button. That's really all I ask. Please press the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Help me continue to grow the live stream. Help me to continue to grow the channel. It's free. All you need to do is press the like button. That's about it. That's about it. All right. With that said, let's go to Tesla and let's talk about the levels to be watching above, because there's a lot, okay? Tesla almost back to all-time highs. We're getting real close. However, let me go ahead and show you guys these levels. I'm going to try to show you. Yeah, it's going to get a little sloppy here, guys. You need to understand that, okay? Going to get a little bit sloppy here because there is a lot of levels, but bear with me. There's going to be 3 levels that you need to really lock in on here and pay attention to. Number 1 is this candle right here. This one right here. See this? That's the first candle we're paying attention to. By the way, we're on the weekly chart. See up here? Weekly chart. Okay? That's the first thing I want you to pay attention to. Weekly chart. So watch that. Okay? So, weekly chart. These are all weekly candles. I'm paying attention to 3 of them. 1, 2, right? And 3. See these 3 weekly candles? See how all 3 of those failed and moved lower? Okay? Those are all weekly candles. The highs of each one of those candles, the exact high of each one of those candles is right here. Right here. Major weekly high, major weekly high, major weekly high. 399, 400.65, and 402.67. Those are the highs of those 3 major weekly levels, major weekly candles. Those are the 3 highs of those major rejections. And you can see that today we are basically sitting right below all of those. So, that makes you question, right? Do I want to be long right into those 3 humongous weekly rejection candles right here? 1, 2, and 3. Those are the 3 highs that you're watching today That is 402.67, 400.65, and 399. Those are the highs of each one of those highs, each one of those candles. Now, if we get above those, there should be no question in your mind, I believe at least, if you get above those 3 weekly highs, there should be no question in your mind. There would be no question in my mind that you see all-time highs on Tesla. If you see a hold above all 3 of these weekly highs, you are, in my eyes, 99.9%, and I'll leave that 0.1%, because as long as I keep 0.1%, then there's a margin for error. I would say if you get above those 3 major weekly levels, there is a 99% chance that you see all-time highs. I don't see why that would slow down at that point. That would be a monster breakout. If we do not get above these highs, then I think there's also a very high chance, right, that a rejection comes in and a better entry point is presented, right? That's probably the right way to think about Tesla today is, hey, overnight gap up, huge gap up from those levels, right? Right into that 402, 400 level. One second, guys. This actually, I think, is an important call. It's Liam's dad coming to get him. So basically, right, I would want Tesla to get above that level. I need Tesla to get over those weekly highs. So let's be aware of that, okay? 399, 402.67. Let's be aware of that. Let's be cautious of that high. I would look for the pullbacks to 391.50. I would look for the pullbacks to 384. All right. 391.50 is this high that was created on Friday and this low from pre-market. I'd watch that spot. 384 is right here. Let me show you. 384. You got to go back to the daily chart. 1 second. 384 is right here on this daily high. See this right here? That's 384.29 right there. 384.29 right here. And then if we fail both the 391.50, the 384.29, this is your best long right here. 378.50. If we even get that. We'll see if we do. All right? Nvidia. So, a little bit of China drama this morning on Nvidia. Now, this is interesting, right? Because where's Nvidia coming back down into? It's coming right back down into that, 138 demand and that daily 50 SMA, which is just interesting again, right? 50 SMA, major hold. 50 SMA stacked up here at 138. Man, is that an interesting spot. And man, do I not want to let this China news make me emotional and panic out of this trade right now. It's just not what I want to, it's just not what I want to do, right? I don't want to look back and say, wow, you were down a few $1,000s on Nvidia. You panicked, you took that trade off, it held the 50, it reclaimed 140.50, and this thing rips higher. That is I would so much, and this is just how I think, guys, because once again, I say this all the time, you cannot be attached to money in trading, okay? You can't be attached to the money. You got to be attached to the process, the game, the love for the game, the love for the analysis. You cannot be attached to the money, right? And so I would so much rather, and I don't really care about the social thing, right? If someone comes at me, oh, Desi, you gave back all your profits on Nvidia, right? Fuck you, right? I don't care what you say about that. It's just the personal truth. I would so much rather give back my Nvidia gains here and just accept that, hey, it didn't go right and you took a loss, than get faked out, right? I'd rather lose money than get faked out. It's so much more painful to see yourself get faked out than to lose money. To me personally, right? To me personally. So if Nvidia ends up just sort of smacking me and I got to take a $5,000, $10,000 loss here, so be it. I do not want to be faked out by this news, especially not by China. don't let China fake me out, man. I'm not going to let China fake me out, right? Let the U.S. fake me out, right? Not China. You're not doing that to me, China, okay? So I'm going to watch this 138 today, all right? I'm going to watch that 50. If that thing holds, I'm going to stay calm. I'm going to see what this day does, right? I don't want to just panic at the open today. Let's see how this news gets sort of understood, right? Let's see if we can get back over that 140.50. If we can get back above it, I'm chilling. If we fail it today and we see more failures and see more weakness, then, maybe I'll do the right thing and protect myself. But I don't want to be faked out by this news at least. I want to at least see this out this morning, right? So let's see. Let's see what it looks like. 138, that's going to be my spot to pay attention to today, okay? 138. And that 50 SMA. Broadcom, earnings on Thursday, big squeeze on that move. I'd say watch 180 today. Watch 180 and then watch pullbacks to 175.50. I like that pullback to 175.50, and I'd look to see if you can hold over 180. Okay? Let's go to TSM. TSM 200. Let's be aware of that 200 spot on TSM. Let's be aware of that 198.50 on TSM. Only thing I'd be aware of on TSM, guys, is 206. That is a huge supply above, right? I don't really know if I like it into that 206. So just be aware of that 206. Look at this. Bam, 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 right? That's a quadruple. It's like the big justice. Boom, boom, boom. This is the quadruple bam right here. And I don't know if I like that, right? So let that slide a little bit. I like the 198.50. I even like that 195 spot for some sort of retest longs. I'm not interested in AMD today. But we talked about not longing AMD until 145, and that was the exact right call. AMD, huge fail at 145. Big demand down here at 135. Not sure I'd short into that. If you're going to short AMD, I'd look for a pop and fade of the 20 SMA today at 140. Meta, huge squeeze. Here's what you're looking at on Meta. We're going to go speed round here, guys. We got 3 minutes. Speed round. Pay attention. Meta, 617, 620, okay? If you break 617, you're coming back down to the 605. But I would look for the longs at 620 and 617. Those would be two spots I'd watch. Google, rejecting that 177. Not a fan of that. I would look for that 173.50. Here would be the only spot I'd look for that long off that Friday low. Possibly at that daily 20, but I don't like that 177 supply if you have to get above that 177 for more upside. Okay? Amazon. I like the pullbacks on Amazon, but really where I like my pullbacks is right here. I don't really like much on Amazon until a pullback to Thursday's highs. Right here, I think, is the right spot. Thursday's highs, 222. That would be where I'm comfortable on that long. You might see some micro levels at 226 and 224. But I'm more of a fan of that 222 Thursday high. Okay? CRM, I'd continue to wait for pullbacks to 349. You guys can see right here, 4-hour chart. Look at that retest at 349. I would watch that very closely. That would be a nice watch there. Palantir, absolutely gone. Palantir had two of the sexiest retests you could ask for to take this long. Triple top high, perfect break and retest long. That is sexual. Next, right? Even after that, previous major high, look at that hold above that on Friday. Beautiful. Gone. Totally gone. Not even interested today. Gone. Home Depot. I would like to see Home Depot try to hold this 430 today. 430, 431. I'm going to see if Home Depot can hold above that. Look at this right here. Major previous highs. Can it hold above that level today? 430, 431. Watching that very closely. Apple, not a big fan. I would want a nice panic drop on Apple here. Give me a panic drop to this 240 spot, one of these, to take it long, right? Not a fan of this consolidation right now. Lululemon, yeah. Oh! I didn't even see this today. Lululemon 390. Oh shit, that's a good hold. Yeah, 395.78. That's a big hold right there, actually. Congratulations to you guys that bought shares with me on Lulu. You should remember this. If you guys are a constant viewer of the live stream, you guys remember us buying those shares on Lulu. That was a big thing that we were paying attention to. And man, is that paying off. 395 right here. If that holds today, and that surely is, you got gaps here, guys. Interesting Lulu hold right here, actually. Look at that. Okay. That might be a top watch for me today. Little Lulu 395. I'll obviously go over that more with you guys in the chat and the Discord today. We'll pay attention to that one. What else did I want to go over real quick? Netflix. Let's continue to trade the stair step. Next stair step gets set up right here on Netflix. 927. Look at the stair step. Look for that pullback long. Stair step continuation. Watch that 927. And that's about it. So, Nasdaq futures, guys. Here's the thing, okay? Let's let this thing slide a little bit, in my opinion, to find better entries. You have major previous highs right here. I want this 550 level. Make it known that I think the best long entry today is back at 550. I do not like the longs up into these supply highs, okay? 550 on the Nasdaq futures, I think, is your best spot. That's QQQ, right around that 524, 523, okay? S&P 500, be careful of that 6100 failure zone. Watch the 6090. Watch the 6080. Last thing I'm going to talk about here is Coinbase, because I think this is one of my top watches today. Take a look at this one. This is how I'm going to leave you today. 335, 335. Two major supply levels, right? Look at what's happening today on Coinbase. Holding over 335. Very interesting. Watch that today. Needs to break 350. That's all I got, guys. I got to run. Head over to the chat. If you want to join me, link down in the description below. Thank you guys for all the support. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Have a fantastic trading day. Let's see what Nvidia does. I'll keep you guys updated on X, on Instagram, and, of course, on YouTube. Peace out.